Good day, guys. How are you? I hope you're all good. Welcome to today's analysis. So we're going to quickly start with V250. This one we got a cut off yesterday when we were doing this analysis. So I just wanted to do a follow up and continue with today's bias. So if you notice what happened, we ended up having a flip zone. Price ended up breaking this zone and coming back to retest an order block, creating a pattern, breaking another order block there, and it sold off. So looking into today, starting off with the daily, we've been bearish. So let's see how low we can go. Let's see. Going back to the weekly, from yesterday's analysis again, you can see we broke off 53,770. So we are looking for a continuation of this bearish move potentially. So the bias from the weekly is bearish, daily is bearish. H4, we had a huge momentum, price slowed down, momentum, slowed down, slight momentum. Then we had consolidation, a push. So soon as we break today's, let me see if this is today's lows or yesterday's lows. Soon as we break yesterday's lows, we're looking for a possible continuation to the downside. So it will be more like a setup from yesterday, whereby we're just waiting for price to show us that it's willing to go to the downside. We also have to confirm that it's not a liquidity grab, because they can potentially just come down below here, then potentially push the price back up. So if they play out like this, we'll be looking for a short-term buy, which will be a retracement on the daily time frame, and we'll be looking forward for price to take out today's highs and retest this level from yesterday. So you see it's marked out, and the price there is 51375. So 51375 is a potential point of interest for sales, where price can potentially come to. But if we do break below yesterday's lows, then I'm expecting price to potentially push down. As long as they show a continuation pattern to the downside, we should be able to get a good sell. So those are the two potential moves today. J10, I remember yesterday it was in the range and we just kept it simple. We're looking for either a break above, continuation up, a rejection, and a push down, and we're also waiting for it down here to see if it reacted. So if you notice, initially they hit it and they took liquidity, then they dragged it all the way back down. So what's missing on this analysis would be this zone here. Okay, so that high there, if you had sold this asset at that point level, then you could have used this first area as your target, and you're waiting for a break, retest, and a continuation for a safe sell. But if you notice, liquidity was taken, they came back, rejected the zone, then came back above with a huge bullish engulfing, which engulfed this whole consolidation area. So that right there was a buy, but it happened early hours around 2, 3 a.m. GMT plus 2. So that buy is in motion. So what we could potentially get now, let's just check on the daily. Okay, so price is potentially coming back up here to this level, back to this level here. So you can see we had a nice rejection here. With also rejecting this zone here, a break, a retest. So I've got a bullish bias, which I'm now confident in. So for us to be active with this trade, point of interest for today, we have the flip zone. We also have a huge supply, a huge demand zone here. So this whole area here, this whole last red candle here or black candle on my chart, For me, that's a demand zone where price can potentially retest into. So anyway, from 87,278 to 87,050. 87,278 to 87,050. That would be my point of interest for buys. It's a buy range. This whole, and it's falling in this H4 demand zone. So if you drop it to a smaller time frame, you will see that I have a zone in here within the 4-hour zone. So that will be around 87,050. So if we get a nameable candle or a rejection candle, if price does come all the way to this area, then we can look for a possible buy. If they do continue to push up from here, I won't have an entry because the price action for me is not clear here to actually enter. But if they do come down, then I'll be more than happy to take the trade around about that area. Going to B1. B1 is already reacting off a zone. You can see I marked it a bit earlier. If we go to M15, you see we've got a nice W here. So we can potentially have a buy here at current market price on B1000. Let me quickly explain it just now. Okay, so my view is just if you notice B1 has been moving with almost the same pattern for the past 2 days. Okay, if you look to our left, we had price creating a low and order block being broken, structures being broken, and price retracing all the way to the first order block before actually pushing up. Same thing happened yesterday with a low order block. Even though this price action didn't take this out, when they came back to this order block, which was broken, they still respected it. Then this price took out this structure and this structure. Then they eventually came back to this order block. So the initial pattern is this one right here. So if you look at okay, C300, I'll check it just now. So if you look at B1 today, it's the same pattern we have. We have a low order block. We also have an order block which I marked here because I was anticipating a possibility of price coming as low as this area, which is still valid, and it's also falling near this trend line which I have. But right here with this pattern, I'm just going to go with the flow with what I've been seeing the past few days. So I've got to buy at current market price, and I'm only targeting yesterday's highs. I'm also targeting today's highs as a take profit. So that will be about 50 pips, 60 pips going to today's high. So if we can get anywhere from 40 to 50 pips on this particular trade, that would be perfect. TDI, we also have price giving us a nice W on the baseline bounce, which is also on the same area as the 50 static. That also confirms that what we see here has got a higher probability of actually playing out. But be in mind, price can still retrace all the way to this initial order block here. So hence we only have one position. If it does play out, it will play out without one position. But if they do come around here, then we look forward maybe for another pattern. Then we can scale in if they move from this area. But for now, this is our current setup. So that's it for B1. Then going on to C3. C3, I marked it like this earlier. I noticed price retraced into our zone from yesterday. If you checked out yesterday's session, you see that from this peak, we had just one continuous move and price refused to come back to this order block yesterday. So we had no trade. They only came back to it today, but they broke it aggressively, which made this zone invalid. Then if you notice, they came all the way up into this order block here, or supply zone, right? So from there, we've got a new peak for the day. So once you identify your peak, what you want to do is you want to drop down to a smaller time frame, then you want to look for a pattern. So the only pattern I have here is this peak. I have an order block here, which was broken, sort of retested, but I'm using this candle here as an order block. So I would rather wait for them to pull back all the way to 35. That's my current point of interest for sales or for a possible sell. But at the same time, I want you to notice that we've also have this level here from yesterday, and we have this order block here and a demand zone. So this price would actually become bullish. If they come and close above the current order block, we could actually be seeing a bullish move. So just be aware of that. So let's just check the daily. From the daily, I feel we still have that bearish bias based on this market structure we have. But a stop hunt can never be ruled out. Price can stop hunt all the way to the 50 EMA on the daily. Let's see where that zone is. Okay, you can see it's right on the 800 EMA. So they can do a stop hunt all the way up here. That means they'll be taking out Monday's high, and they'll potentially react to this day's high, the 26th of January's high, which is, if you see, it's a zone which was retested here, retested here. So they can come back up here, take out those highs before actually selling. So let's just keep that in mind. But for now, we still have the selling bias as long as this order block is respected. I think it will be okay to sell as long as we respect 35. At the same time, today's high can be extended here, and we can get a reaction right here on this moving average. So that will be around 36.20 is also a zone. At the same time, you can see they left supply zone there. This is just M15, so it's a minor supply zone. It's not a strong zone, but it can qualify as an area where price can just extend to before we sell. So if they extend to that area, we'll look for another order block. From current market price, I cannot enter here because I know price can retrace to here. Price can extend the high to here. So that's why I cannot enter here. It's already late. But if you had entered at the top here, then that would have been perfect, and you could have targeted this area as a take profit. So we'll keep stalking on C3 and see what happens during the course of the day. Going to C5, this is how I marked it. Daily, we could be bearish. You can see I've got these levels we marked a day or two ago. Price can potentially come into any of these two red lines. That's still my bias. Going to H4, price is currently in a supply zone, which gives me the more reason to want to sell. H1 is in a zone, but I'm anticipating a stop hunt. So from today's highs to yesterday's highs, that's my sell zone. You can just mark yesterday's highs on the H1 and mark today's highs on the H1 as well. Put lines there, that's my sell zone. So they can potentially just extend the current high by coming up, then creating a pattern, then we can sell. If they come and break this, we can look for a potential continuation to those red lines we have on a higher time frame. But if they do come above, then they show a rejections of this current high. If they bounce here, then they can potentially be extending the high going all the way up. So it will be another different setup forming to what we're currently seeing now. So again, C5 will keep stalking, C3, C5 will keep stalking and see what happens. C1000. This is how I marked it today. So I'm looking for a continuation of the sales, still have a sell bias. So it looks like they are reacting off this level. But for me to have a safe sell, you can see I already marked this order block. So I want to see them break before I get interested in any sales. The reason I wait for this safe sell is because right now they can still come up into the 800 EMA, into this zone here, because the retest we had here, I feel like it was minor, so they can potentially come and retest it again before we get another pattern to sell at the top here. But if they decide to sell from where they are, then we wait for a safe entry below the zone. That's my current view on it. And potentially we can scale out around yesterday's lows. So the first target should be about 30 pips. Then the rest of the TP can be open. Then you see what happens. As you can see, it looks like it's a possible rejection of the 13 EMA on H4. So we could get a pattern, safe entry again. Like I said, it's below the red line. If you look at H4, it will be below the 200 EMA as well. But if price is rejecting here, then it could be something like this. They'll bounce off here, then they'll come break this, then it will become like an uptrend. But for now, I'm still content with selling it. So yeah, we'll stick to that sell bias which we have for now until price shows us otherwise. So again, if you look at it from the H1, you'll see the red line which we want the price to break for our safe sell is also an order block zone on H1. So if price respects this and rejects it, price will definitely be pushing up, and we're going to wait for it on the next point of interest, which is around 62.45 for possible sells. That will be later in the day. But if they do come below the zone now, we're looking for a continuation sell. 30 pip minimum targets, TP2 open. So that's how I'm seeing C1000. B5 looks like a flip zone. You can see I already marked it. This is yesterday's highs. They were broken aggressively. First touch, second touch. This whole zone qualifies as a demand zone. Worst case scenario would be this price coming down to the 50 EMA. TDI is trading above the 50 static, which shows we are bullish. Daily rejected the 13 EMA nicely here from yesterday. So I'm looking for a continuation, and I'm looking for price to take out or to reach rather 5,000. That will be the target if we take a buy on B500. But again, remember B500 requires a lot of patience if you're in the trade. Let's see here, H4. Okay, price already reacted off the zone. H1. Okay, we can have a stop hand here. So if you notice, this level yesterday was retested twice. We've broken structure here. This price can retrace to any point. Right now, there's no guarantee that they are ready to push as much as they can react off this flip zone and off this H1 order block. We can anticipate a stop hunt all the way to this zone again. So a break came back below, a break of structure, retest, break of structure. Where can they retest? It's either they'll retest here and continue pushing up, or they'll come back down here, create another pattern before they start pushing. So that's what I'm anticipating on B5. But right now, I'm not really keen on buying it at current market price. I would rather wait to get a form of 50 EMA touch, I think. Or maybe if you pull a line on today's highs, if they break, we can look for a possible continuation. This can be a potential trade. So if you mark today's highs, If we get a break and a retest, that can work for a buy. So yeah, let's see what happens. We'll keep stalking it and see how they play out. So they can either do this, or they can come down to the 50 EMA and then push up, or they will come all the way back to this zone, create a new pattern there again before we actually take it by. So those are the three scenarios I'm anticipating. If they do anything else besides these three scenarios, then we won't have any trade. Then what's left? Okay, B1 we're already active. I think we spoke about all the assets now. I don't know if there's any questions. If there's no questions, B1 is our only trade. Stop loss will be below the last bullish M15 candle, so that will be around 13,437, which is about 45 pips from the entry price. So that's about, for a small lot size, that will be like an $8 risk if you use 0.20. So again, if you can already see that this loss for a small account, it's almost reaching our maximum loss for the day. So with B1, it's always good to be patient with it. I'm sure we mentioned it when I explained this setup here. So if you didn't see that explanation, you can watch yesterday's video. It's got this explanation and it talks about B1 and avoiding late entries and trying to enter at the right time, because the pullbacks can be big. But from my point of view, I feel like we can still play out. The price action on this trade looks all right, and I'll actually be looking forward to scaling. So I've got a minor order block here. If you notice M5, there's that candle there. It's also in the same place with these moving averages. So I'm looking for a reaction here. If they come below, maybe I might cut my loss here so that I can still execute a bit later if this trade is a loss. So the loss, instead of having it at 45, the stop loss, we can put it around 13,455. Okay, so we got 13,455 as a stop loss, which reduces our loss here to 28 pips, or rather almost $6 for the current runner we have. So at the same time now, based on this pullback, if we get a reaction here, I would love to scale in again. Then I'm still looking forward for the same 50 pip minimum target. So if you scale in, the gains will be a bit better. So let's see how that goes. So that's the only current running trade we have now. If there is any other view I have, okay, M30 is also confirming, and this price can come all the way up here. You can see I've got this channel here. So instead of this trade being only 50 pips, it can end up paying out about 100 plus. But at 50 pips, we should scale out because we have a zone there. Until that zone is broken and retested, we need to cut off our trade at 50 pips. But once we show signs of breaking, we can either enter again, or we can just trail on the running trade. So this is my current view on B1. This level was respected. I had it from this, and this one, and just extended. So let's see how that plays out. This zone has already been broken twice. So this could be a sign that this price wants to come all the way up to 13,670. That's also a potential target, but we need to break a few areas. We need to break here. We need to break here before we get to this area. So we just see how price will be moving, and we'll manage our trade accordingly. Apart from that, I've got nothing else to share today. yeah, I've got nothing else. So we just manage B1 for now. And if there's anything else which I see during the day, I'll still advise on the Telegram group. And if there's no questions, have yourself a peaceful day. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, and share, and also subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good trading.